So you tell me when we'll start, right? So till now only seven. Let us start or we'll wait.
Sir, let us start, sir.
Okay.
Sir, MPA 17 or 16, sir?
17.
Thank you, sir.
I think 16 is over.
No, sir, 16 is not started yet.
No, I have been assigned 17 and 18, not 16.
Oh, sir.
Hmm.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let others join, right? So who is joining? Who is admin here?
Sir, I am.
Okay. Okay. So if you can send a message that those who are waiting to join or let them join immediately, right? We'll
Yes, sir.
start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is one of the most important papers in public administration, not only in public administration, in the entire social science. So the topic that we are going to study is e-governance, right? So you must be knowing that this paper, that is the paper on e-governance. You are acquainted with the concept of governance and the difference between government and governance. We'll be discussing the difference between e-government and e-governance. So before that, we'll be discussing government and governance. But the problem is that it is so popular, so widely used. There is a lot of confusion surrounding this concept of e-governance or theory of e-governance. So that's why we need a very clear idea, very scientific idea about what e-governance is and what are the aspects of e-governance, models of e-governance, what are the challenges before e-governance. As you are well aware of the fact that now in the globalization period or in the post-globalization period, there is a competition among the states all over the world, among the governments all over the world, to be using ICT, information and communication technology, in the process of governance, which we call as e-governance. So e-governance is the unchallenged, most acceptable model of governance today all over the world. Not only the developed countries, not only the developing countries, not only the least developed countries, all countries of the world, all governments of the world, all institutions or societies in the world are aspiring to use ICT in every sector of governance, in every field of governance, in every aspect of governance. So why this has happened? So let us have a very historical outlook towards this factor of e-governance emerging as the widely used, most acceptable model of governance today. So there are so many regions, but we'll be pointing to very particular or important regions for the emergence of e-governance as the most powerful or unchallenged model of governance today. First thing, there has been a revolution in communication system all over the world, as you know, website, www, email, and other forms of communication that makes communication faster, speedier, or you can tell as fastest. Because one part of the world is in communication with another part, extreme part of the world within seconds through mail. Now there is the emergence of social media, so WhatsApp, Facebook, etc., etc., etc. So question is how this has affected the government or the governance system. So this communication revolution has affected all aspects of human existence today in the world. The human existence, human life, human society in its all aspects, political aspect, physical aspect, social aspect, economic aspect, cultural aspect, linguistic aspect, all aspects of human existence, human life have been affected by this communication revolution. So world has become a village. Now you are using the term local, global and local. So global has become local and local has become global because of this communication revolution. So when all aspects of human existence are affected, so naturally we expect that government is affected. Process of government, that is governance, is affected. State is affected. How state behaves, that is affected. How state decides, that is affected. How state citizenship interaction is going on, that is affected. So obviously, all the states in the world, particularly first the developed states, they wanted to use this communication revolution and the tools of this communication evolution, that is ICT, information and communication technology. What are the tools, methodologies, or instruments of communication today at our hand because of this communication evolution? They have been used by the government. They have been used by the government to make governance more responsive, more accountable, more corruption free, and more people friendly. So, what is the objective of government? Any government, at least declared objective. We are not saying what they are delivering, what they are not delivering, whether a government is a capable government, efficient government, non-corrupt government. So, what is the objective of government? The objective of government is the welfare of the people. How it can benefit the people, by what distance it can benefit the people. So normally, when the concept of welfare state emerged, I am just giving you the historical background. When the concept of welfare state emerged in the world in the 20s, there is a huge burden on the state infrastructure or state structure itself, or the government structure, government institutions itself, to give a number of benefits to the people. Number of schemes are there. So there were loopholes, bottlenecks, bureaucratic bottlenecks. Then there are people. There is a huge gap between in people and the government in terms of communication. There is dominance of or hegemony of bureaucracy. Bureaucracy gave the concept in India, that is Mai Bap Sarkar. Collector is termed as the father of the district, respected man, but nobody is going to unable to approach the common man or common citizen was unable to approach the collector, even the sub collector. So this process made the governments ineffective. That's why there was a challenge to make governments effective, corruption free, responsive, accountable. So the World Bank project came in Africa, and that project was coined under the name of what? Good governance. So what is good governance? So good governance originally was based on the ideas of three, four ideas. The ideas of good government, that is accountable government, that is honest government or corruption-free government, that is responsive government, that is effective government. So these three, four characteristics were considered to be the features of a good governance, features of the good governance. So next, when ICT came, information communication technology came, and there was a communication revolution throughout the world, this technology was used in the processes of governance, which now we are calling, or that is in common parlance or common language, or common consciousness today, everybody talks of e-governance. So today we are taking a class online, that is e-governance of IGNO, right, of our university. You are applying online, you are getting admitted online, you are paying online. These are examples of good governance. There is SAMS in Odisha, Student Academic Management System. So that is one of the best examples in India of good governance. In yesteryears, years, in previous years, how a student was getting admitted into +2 or +3. A student has to apply as many as college as he wants. If you want to study in Revensa, you may not get seat in Revensa. So you have to apply in Revensa with money and form. You have to come to Katak, or you have to post a application. Then you have to apply at your village. Then you have to apply some other colleges. In the apprehension that if you may not get a seat in Revensa, then may you get a seat in Shalawadi CJKAL or JKBK or in Kendrapada, Jaspur, Balesur, Bhadrak, wherever it is possible, private college or government college. But now, when e-governance came up in admission system and it was totally centralized, you just click 5, 10 choices. These are the choices in order of preference. So your first preference is Revenza, your second preference is X college, Y college. Then you just gave money for one form. Once you paid the money, then the central system selected. So, what are the benefits of this model of governance in the admission system? So, admission was under the higher education department. Higher education department of government of Odisha. Odisha is a government. Higher education is a department. Department was controlling, administrating, managing admissions. And when we developed a software, that is SAMS, that is the example of e-governance. So we did what we did. We did this e-governance or e-admission system in which students of Odisha got the benefit of what? What are the benefits? They saved money. They saved time. We don't need to travel so to too very far places to get admission. And there is transparency. You can know that higher mark students or lower mark students are getting admission or preferences into these colleges, XYZ colleges, right? So we understood this concept of e-governance. I gave the example to clarify your doubts or to have a very rudimentary concept of e-governance. But what is e-governance and what is e-government? So let us talk about government and governance. What is government? Government, you mean there are different parts of the government, organs of the government, different departments of the government, different hierarchies of the government. You have a chief secretary, you have additional chief secretary or development commissioner, you have principal secretaries, you have secretaries, additional secretaries, joint secretaries, deputy secretaries, section officers, assistant section officers. This is how the bureaucracy in Odisha secretariat runs. I am just giving you the example of a government. Then it is headed by a honorable minister. Then entire government is headed by a chief minister. Then there is the constitutional head of the government, that is governor. So institutions are there, departments are there in the government. Government takes a decision, that is government. What is governance? Governance means the processes of governance. How a decision is made, how a file is moved, how transparent it is, how effective it is, how services are delivered. Suppose one is one poor man who does not have a house. He is eligible to get a house under different government schemes. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, previously it was Indra Awas Yojana or Biju Kutro Yojana or Kudiya Yojana. So under different schemes, there is the provision of housing for poor people, right? The question is how this is selected, how they are selected, whether it is transparent or not, right? Whether it is transparent or not. ଏ ମୁଁ ଯିବିନି ଆଜି ନା ନା ହେଲା so uh, we need transparency, we need accountability, we need effectiveness in delivering public services to the people. There are so many services, whether it is PDS, public distribution system, ration, whether it is education, whether it is health, whether it is housing, so many schemes are there. So governance is the processes of government or processes of governance. This is the basic difference between government and governance. So what is the difference between e-government and e-governance? So if you modernize the government system, government departments, government machinery through information and communication technology, that is known as e-government. Suppose in a police station or in a district headed by superintendent of police, this is not in your book, I am giving you example, so your understanding level is better and deeper and clearer. So if the entire FIRs, first information letter, case files are computerized, so you cannot say this is missing. Suppose one man or woman goes to police station and registers an FIR, first information report, and then most of the time we see that this FIR have not been registered, and there is no explanation from the police. So this is not good governance. So that's why if that is computerized, you cannot say this is not there. In a click, mouse click, you can search by date or by name or by panchayat or by area village that this is the case registered or this is the affair submitted to the police station on such date and such date time by such people, right? So if the entire file of a department is computerized and saved, then it is easy to search. If the communication between different departments of the government, suppose higher education department, take the example of higher university education department. Now there is a e-dispatch, right, in the higher education department. The secretary, additional secretary sends a letter. It immediately within seconds comes to the mail of registrars of universities or principals of colleges. So if that is the communication, earlier what was being done? Earlier a letter will come by post that will be received, that will be registered in the DAC of college or universities. Then it will be marked by an administrative officer, whether it is registrar or chairman PG council or vice chancellor to the concerned department. So now within seconds you can get information, direction, request, whatever, I mean, government letters in the email or e-dispatch system. That is example of e-government, right? And e-governance is the process of governance. This can be extended as e-governance when it applies to benefits or services or decision-making processes in the departments, concerned departments. Then intra-department. Suppose chief secretary sends mail, sends direction, or sends the proceedings or the decision of the government. Then immediately within the click of a mouse, he or his private secretary can send communication to all the secretaries or principal secretaries of all the departments. That means a decision is communicated within seconds to the department. These are e-government. So modernization of the government machinery, government communication system or government departments is known as e-government. So what is e-governance? E-governance is something broader, higher, and wider in its scope than the e-government. So it involves decision making. Decision making by the people with the participation of the people. People have some choices. People have some kind of participation. If there is e-voting, e-public opinion. You give your vote in social media or a group created media that this is a bad service, this is a good service. So there is a feedback, two-way communication system. You communicate to the people and people are responding, and by that you get the feedback and you improve your decision or performance, right? Then the processes of government is modernized through ICT, information communication technology. That is called e-governance. So this is the difference. Basically, there are so many differences, but you have to cover. I think I have been assigned 4 or 5 classes for this paper. I have to complete that. So this is the basic difference between e-government and e-governance, right? Then we'll see what are the models of governance. So you will be knowing a man or before that the models of governance. There are two ways of seeing models of governance or two theories of models of governance. Before that, there is an acronym that is SMART for e-governance. SMART. So, what is the full form of this SMART? So, S implies for simple. You write it down. So, S implies for simple. That means this is the acronym or this is the simplified definition of e-governance. That is, one is simple. S means simple. What is simple? That means e-governance is a simplified process of governance. You give communication to the people, you give information to the people, so that people can know information, people can have knowledge on the process of governance, on the information regarding the government, decisions of the government. So this is a way of informing people, that is simple. Then moral is understood. I need not explain the term meaning of the term moral. That means e-governance believes in moral governance. There is no immorality in e-governance. Then simple smart ASMA. What is the meaning of A? A means accountable. Accountable. What do you mean by accountable? We define it in Odia as Uttaradai. Accountable. You are accountable for your position, for your decision, for your performance. That means whoever in charge of a government, whether he is a big officer or a small officer or a middle level officer, he is accountable. So e-governance believes in, practices accountability. The objective of e-governance is accountability. So everybody in the entire government structure is accountable to the people. Accountable to, this is the basic principle of democracy also. So without accountability, there cannot be democracy. So every people in the government, whether he is prime minister, whether he is president, whether he is minister, whether he is chief secretary or BDO or sarpanch, everybody in the entire government structure is accountable to the people for what they are doing, what they are deciding, and what they are delivering. So accountability is another hallmark of e-governance. SMAR. R, what do you mean by R? R means responsive or response. So you have to respond. I have applied for a CLC in university or college, right? How much time you will take to give me a CLC college living certificate or university living certificate? How can I get a migration? These are the experiences that you are encountering. That's why I am giving you the example of our day-to-day engagements so that we can have a better understanding of the concept of e-governance. So responsive means you have to respond to a query, to a request. Suppose there is a natural calamity. Suppose there is an event. Suppose there is a demand. Suppose there is a crisis. And the government has to respond. And ICT tool makes response quicker, faster, right? So earlier we are going to collector's office. We do not find collector. So now you can send a mail to chief minister's office, to collector's office, to chief secretary's office, minister's office, and mail is downloaded. It is informed to the concerned authority, and they have to take a decision. That is response. Smart. SMART. What is T? T means transparency, not technology. You confuse. Most of the time, students are confused, and in answer or these answers they write that this is transparency. So we must be very clear. Smart. What is the meaning of smart? S is simple, understood. M is, what is M? You tell. S, M, you
M
say
for
what is
moral.
M for moral.
Moral.
A, right. A is accountability.
Accountable.
R is
And R
responsive.
for a
T
response.
is, uh,
People
T is
transparent.
transparent. Right.
T for a
What is,
transparency.
And
what is
transparency.
transparent? What is transparency? This
Transparency
is,
means
Transparency is
mean that
the
some
that a
and it is visible to other people also. People can know all the facts about the government policy, government implementation of the program.
yes. So, in a very simplified terminology or a simplified manner, you can say, what is transparency? That is nothing secret. Everything is
Yes,
open in the
yes, sir.
public domain. Because government is a public institution. We are
Yes,
public. Whatever it is happening, whatever is there, that must be open to the public domain. That must be transparent. So glass is transparent, and this government must be transparent. That is transparent. So which we call in Odia as Swachhata, right?
right.
So these are the five important characteristics of e-governance. Then we made a difference between e-government and e-governance. And e-governance you understood, and e-government you understood. Earlier you have understood government and governance. So what is the difference between government and governance? That is also the difference between e-government and e-governance, right? So problem is e-governance. This is e-governance is now crossed several stages, right? So we have crossed several stages of e-governance. We'll be studying stages, but I am again taking you back to the idea of e-governance that emerged with the evolution of information and communication technology. And there was a resistance at the beginning. When in India, Rajiv Gandhi came to power, actually this communication revolution in India is based on the initiative of Rajiv Gandhi. How? He entirely revolutionized communication system in India through the use of telephones, network, etc., etc. And there was resistance throughout India, and there was apprehension throughout India whether it will be successful, what are the need of it. Number one. Number two, when there is computerization in bankings or banks in India, there is a hue and cry by the bank employees, their associations, that it will lose their job. They will be losing their jobs. Who? The bank employees, particularly lower level employees, clerks, and others. Because what they are doing manually, counting money or keeping bookkeeping, you must be aware of bookkeeping in commerce, or banking jobs, that will be done by computers. So if that will be done by computers, and computers are faster than human hands or human brains, then that will create job losses for the banking people or banking employees. But what happened? Can you now imagine any office, any institution in the world without a computer, without a networked computer, without an interneted computer? So this has what I want to say. When there is the beginning of the journey, there is a lot of apprehensions, lot of resistances, lot of doubts, lot of questions, lot of movements or protests. So now we have arrived in such a situation, such a point. We cannot think of our life without this information ICT. So obviously governments have to respond, and government have responded in the form of e-governance. So now the question is not whether we accept e-governance or not, because every state in the world has accepted e-governance in some form or other. Now the question is how much, how many, what is the degree of e-governance in our government. So we must be faster, we must be deeper, we must be wider in accepting, implementing e-governance in our state structure or government structure or procedures of governance. So this is the history of e-governance, which we call as stages of e-governance. In the first phase, in the middle phase, now we are in a matured phase, and there is the competition among states who will catch over. Then the new age of governance. You must be knowing the citizens charter. In every office there is charter, there is a board that these are your rights. So how can this be? You have imagine earlier, if there is a telephone booth in the village, then that the sign of development, right? So you must be agreeing with me. Earlier, 10, 20 years back, if there is a telephone booth, and if you don't have a telephone booth, that small town or village is not a modern village. So if you in a small town, there are telephone booths which you call as PCOs, right? So now you don't find PCOs. Normally, you don't find telephone booths. Why? Because of the mobile phones. So mobile phone change the structure. You have this media. Now what is happening? This is a byproduct of e-governance. Suppose somebody is taking money from somebody in a government office. What is happening? You are posting that in social media in Facebook page, and that becomes viral. So that becomes a question to a non-transparent government. How this is happening? Then there is action. So our observation is that as students of political science or public administration is that the posting in social media is leading to action against the government employee. There is inquiry and there is a there is a checking of this video whether it is truncated, whether it is manufactured, whether it is duplicate or whether it is real. So if it is real, that video of taking money or bribing or whatever it may be, then there is a action, right? If somebody misbehaves or wife, so this means broadly this comes under e-governance. Why? How? You can ask me, how, sir, if somebody beats her wife, then there is a case registered case in police station. Under what basis? Wife is not going to police station. That video becomes viral, and this is sent to concerned officials. Concerned officials take cognizance of this crime out of this media, social media, out of this e-communication. So you get the information, police get the information, and police registers a case that and against the husband why he is beating her wife, right? So decisions of the government or decision of the government agency is being taken at based of ICT, information and communication technology, that is mobile. So after computer, after this landline, this mobile. So earlier it was 2G, then 3G, now it is 4G. So after 4G, this mobile technology has become part of your life, for everybody's life in the world today. Everybody is connected. So if there is a farmers movement in Delhi, that becomes viral throughout the world, not only in India or Odisha, throughout the world. Throughout the world, this becomes viral, right? And this affects the government. So that has become my point is e-governance has become such wider in its scope that every aspect of our existence today is affected by ICT, and so also the government structure or processes of governance. So the objective of e-governance is to give benefits to the people in a quick manner, in an effective manner, and in a transparent manner, and in a non-corrupted manner. That is the objective of e-governance. So
Yes.
we have to ensure, then we can say, ensure this, then we can say e-governance is effective. It is not that how many computers do you have in your department, how many networks do you have in your department, how your department's files have been modernized, how your offices have been modernized, how the communication from your boss to other centers of power is quicker and faster through networking or net or mail or WhatsApp group. That is not the point. There is an alternative group, alternative argument that we will not discuss in today's class. Later on, we will discuss. But question is, e-governance has makes us faster, has makes government faster, quicker, and responses of the government faster, quicker is expected. So if we can do that in real terms, if the common citizen, if the citizen at the last ladder, at the lowest level, get the benefit, then we can say this is the effective e-governance. Otherwise, it is not, right? So you may have e-governance, you may have emails from the government, you may have direction from the government, decision from the government, benefits from the government. But question is whether it is giving benefits to the common people, to the marginalized sections, to the excluded sections. Then we'll go to the next idea, that is Models of governance. What are the models of governance? You please write it down. There are different models. I have told you the stages. Stages are the model. Can write it down the stages. First is the what are the stages? This is a simple information is a first stage. So that means the information regarding the government is given in the public domain, right? So we are discussing the stages of e-governance. So first stage or in a rudimentary level, what happens in governance? The informations of the government are transferred, are put in the public domain. Suppose you have a website, right? University has a website. All the informations of the universities regarding university, whether the admission structure, departments, how many PG departments are there, how many UG departments are there, what is the student strength, what is the examination fees, when examinations are held, when admissions are held, procedure of admission. That means all information regarding the government or institution, whatever it may be, is put in the public domain. So how does it serve the people? An informed citizen, knowledgeable citizen is an asset for a democratic governance. So if the citizens are unaware of their government's decisions, opportunities, etc., or benefits, then they cannot fight for their right. So rights and enjoyment of rights depends on knowledge, knowledge about the government. So the first stage is very simple. That is called simple information system, or it is put in a public domain. The decisions, the knowledge, the information of the government. Second is, are you writing? Are you writing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What did you write?
The stages of the e-governance.
First stage. What did you write? First stage.
Simple information system.
Say, information are put on
Two-way
the government.
Yes, yes, yes. That is very simple, easy to understand, no problem. Just have to tell and second is two-way communication. You
Okay, sir.
wrote to me and I responded to you. That is two-way communication. Two-way traffic, you are seeing two-way traffic on one side it is coming, on other side it is going. So government is giving information to the people and people are asking something, that is two-way communication. Same, this is an extension of the first stage. That is a developed part of the first stage and people are informed about their decisions of the governments, right? There is a call. If I accept the call, then our meet will be cancelled or what? Hmm. Anyway, so I should not attend the call. Then service and financial transactions. Third stage, there is a how services can be rendered and how financial transactions are made. This is a bit complemented than the first stage and second stage, right? So the financial transactions are possible by e-accounting or e-account or e-commerce or e-transaction, right? E-transaction and e-commerce through net banking, government payment, e-challan, etc., etc. This is the third stage, and this is a bit complicated or complex than the first and second stage. Then you have integration. Then you have integration. What is integration? You know the meaning of integration? What is integration? Suppose under one head there are several departments or
Yes,
several
sir.
sub offices. That is
Yes, sir.
integrated through mail. Now you have a WhatsApp group, right? So we are informing that is integration. Suppose first year or second year,
Communication.
that is a first year or second year students, public administration students or political students have their group. So information is passed through that group. So, integration means the departments are integrated into a single fold, and communication is delivered or communication is made through that system, whether it is email system or WhatsApp system or whatever it may be. That is called integration. So, integration of various government departments or government agencies, right? So, what happens here? So, the hierarchy that we'll study in benefits, but here it is relevant to explain that idea. Hierarchy. What is hierarchy? Hierarchy means top-down approach, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is top-down approach? There is chief secretary, there is additional chief secretary, there is secretary, There is additional secretary, there is joint secretary, there is special secretary. So this is the hierarchy. You have studied
Yes.
in bureaucracy and public administration hierarchies, right? Unit of command, hierarchy, span of control, you have studied. So this hierarchy becomes weak when there is integration, right? So you don't need a hierarchy or hierarchical formalities in e-governance. There, that is there. You cannot abolish that. That is there. There is no provision of abolishing through e-governance. So automatically it becomes weak. The hierarchical structure becomes weak. Next is political participation. So political participation is the basic objective of e-governance, to facilitate participation of people in the decision making process. So what is happening in a formal democracy? Let us understand and explain what is happening in a formal democracy. In a formal democracy, we elect a government for 5 years, once in a 5 years. So after election, we don't have a job. Some political parties or some concerned citizens are protesting or do protest against anti-people policy of the government, and that is sporadic, that is not organized, right? Like now farmers are protesting in Delhi for their interest. Government is saying no, it is not your interest. So whatever it may be, so we are becoming more inactive citizens after election. So here, in e-governance gives a scope to the common citizens to participate in the governance processes. So ultimately, that makes people more active, makes democracy more active, and makes state or compels the government to be more responsive to people's demands. The examples that I gave just 5 minutes ago, what is happening in social media and how it is affecting the government, right? How it is affecting public opinion, creating public opinion. Suppose there is a huge corruption, and there is a general reaction among the people through this media, through ICT, information and communication technology. So public opinion is created. Sometimes it is wrongly created or manipulations of media. Now social media is controlled, manipulated, rigged. So that is a danger. But ICT itself is not neutral. Is neutral. But question is who uses it, who owns it, who manages it, who manipulates it, who rigs it. So if it is controlled by the government for the people, for the interest of the people, and if ICT or e-governance gives scope to people for participating in the affairs of the government, participating in the decision-making processes of the government, then it becomes inclusive. You must underline the term inclusive. That means it includes the people in the processes. So that leads to inclusive governance and inclusive democracy. That is the most important significance of e-governance. That is the last point, is political participation. Understood? So these are the 5 stages of e-governance. Then there is another model which is known as first two are right. First two, that is simple and what I told, that is two-way communication. Then there are third stages, that is multi stakeholders, touching the different stakeholders of government. Stakeholder is a concept of the World Bank, or it comes from a business model or commerce model that may not be relevant to a democratic model, but that is there, right? So this is the stages of governance. Then we have models of e-governance, right? So let us discuss models of e-governance. What is models of e-governance? If you write the name of Dr. Ari Alchumi, Dr. Ari, A-R-I-E, you please write down Dr. Ari Halchami, Halchami, right? Dr. Ari, A-R-I-E, Halachami, Halachmi, right? He has developed these models of e-governance, and you can implement these models, but no model is exclusive. Every model has a limitation, has merits and demerits. You cannot experiment in a single model in any country to achieve a maximum output or maximum utility of that model in e-governance, right? So that's why we must have a comparative perspective of these models. What are the benefits of these models? What are the limitations of these models? And in what country, in what society, it can be most effective, right? First is broadcasting model. The term broadcasting is self-explanatory. What do you mean by broadcasting? Broadcasting, what is the meaning of broadcasting. You please tell what is the meaning of broadcasting? Broadcasting is concerned with radio, dissemination of information.
Yes, sir.
So Broadcasting Corporation of India.
Spreading the information.
Hmm?
Spreading
What?
the information.
Uh, that means giving information to the people, broadcasting. Suppose in radio there is a broadcasting of news, in television there is a broadcasting of news. What does it mean? The news is informed to everybody who are listening, giving more information or dissemination of information. Okay, dissemination of information. So how does it affect governance? How it is relevant to governance? How it is related to governance? Because these information are going to the citizens. If the citizens of the country are more informed, are more knowledgeable, then they will have the extended capacity, increased capacity to participate in the process of governance. You are educated, you are aware of the government processes, and you can intervene in an effective manner than a common man living in a village. He does not know what is. So he believes in Mai Bap Sarkar. He thinks his ward member, sarpanch, or panchayat secretary, or block development officer is a god. He will provide him the housing. He will provide him in the loan in the cooperative society in a remote village. So he will ask for them, and if they will ask money in the name of corruption, then that common man, simple man, without any knowledge about the complexities of the government, processes of government, rules of the government, will be victim to the unaccountable, corrupt system of governance. So, if this model believes that if there is more information passed to the citizens and citizens become aware of the government decisions, government benefits, services to be delivered to them, that is their right. They must understood that it is our government. We have made this government. We are owners of the government. And these are servants of the society, servants of the people, whether it is political executive or the bureaucratic executive. These are servants of the people. They are to serve the society, serve the people. They are not our owners. We are their owners. Then this information can bring a revolutionary change in governance or e-governance. This idea is believed to be the hallmark of or substance of this model of broadcasting, model of governance, e-governance. Then critical flow model. That is the flow of critical information, like broadcasting model. So you need not repeat all these things that I have already explained. So the critical model believes in the flow of critical information to the people. So what happens? Time and distance, this has been written here, time and distance are made irrelevant. How? You send a letter in post office or courier, by post office or courier, through post office or courier, that takes time. You send an email to any of your friend in Africa, America, whatever part of the world, that will reach within seconds. You write an application to Chief Minister's office that this is my right, this is not being done. And if it is a responsive government, then there will be response from the office. There will be answer from the office. You write a email to any concerned authority who is to do this work, right? And if that is a responsive government, then time becomes irrelevant. Distance becomes irrelevant. So within no time, your problem will be solved or your problem will be attended to. So that is the benefit of this critical flow model. Then we have a comparative analysis model. So comparison, you know, what is the meaning of comparison? You compare, then you find what is best. I mean, now we are telling what are the best practices available at schools in teaching. This pandemic corona has made us more dependent on ICT, and this e-governance has become more relevant because you are confined, you are quarantined, you cannot move, you cannot go. So what is the means of communication? We today have an online class. Why it is a online class today, evening 5 to 7? So the real classroom within four walls of the classroom, that becomes irrelevant, right? The time becomes irrelevant. Normally, you are having your classes in Sunday from 10 to 4 or 3 or 2, you do during that time. So all the concepts of classroom teaching in IGNOU was made irrelevant by this pandemic. You have a class in the beginning, you have a class in online mode through mobile or through laptops, right? So likewise, this comparative analysis, you compare what is the best in e-governance models throughout the world, and this is more relevant to the developing countries. So developing countries search for or always wants to learn from the developed countries. What is their models of e-governance? What is their models of service delivery? What is their models of people's redressal of people's grievances? What is their models of people's redressing the people's issues, concerns, demands, requests, etc., and they are being accepted. So unless you have a comparative perspective, you cannot compare your model with other model. You cannot get what are the higher, superior, better models than you, and what are the lesser or bad models than you. So comparison always helps, right? This is the comparative model. Then you have e-advocacy or the lobbying model. This is otherwise known as lobbying model. That means this creates a virtual community, not a real community. Community through the application of ICT. This virtual community influences the decisions of the government, and through this there is lobbying, e-advocacy, lobbying for a particular cause. Suppose there is now a series of applications or petitions, e-signed. E-signed, you understand e-signed? Through your mail, an application will come, and there is a request that you please e-sign this paper on a particular demand. So this is a e-advocacy model. By advocating for a particular cause, by lobbying for a particular cause through ICT, through information and communication technology, you can one second. You can take a decision, or you can influence a decision, or you can advocate for a decision, right? This is called comparative analysis or e-advocacy. Then interactive service model, right? The interactive service model is a higher form with a good objective. That is, this model aims at allowing participation of people in the process of governance. This is called direct participation of the people in the decision making process. Use of ICT. This is called G2C2G. G2 to one DUI. Here DUI means electronically, it means TO2. Government to consumer, C consumer, to again to government. So this is the model G2TC2, G2C2G, government to consumer to government. So there is a deficiency in the model. That is, people are considered consumer. There is a wrong conception. But however, the purpose is good, and purpose is to allow more wider and effective participation of people in the decision making process. So this is regarded as a newer model or a latest or contemporary model of e-governance. So if e-governance allows more and more people in the decision making process by empowering them through ICT, information and communication technology, then we can say that this model of governance, e-governance, is effective, is beneficial to the people, is transforming the entire governmental structure or process of governance for the benefit of the people. So there are two objectives must be there in the e-governance. What are the objectives? First is, let us empower people. Let us make people conscious about their rights, about their benefits, about the services to be delivered by the government in a time-bound manner. Number one. Second part is that the citizens must be conscious. Citizens must be capable to intervene if there is a lacuna, if there is a deficiency in the e-governance structure or processes. So if services are not delivered, if services are not available, if services are not available, then we can say that people must intervene. Citizens must intervene. You see, this is my right. I have not been given. This is my service I am capable, able to, or I am entitled to get. So I must get these services, and I must be these services must be available to me in due time by the government. So that is called this interactive service model, right? So I explained these interactive service models. Uh, Next, we'll go. I hope you understood these models. So we must then shift to this legal framework or policy perspective for the e-governance model. So there must be a legal backup, a legal infrastructure for these services. So there was, IT Act, Information Technology Act 2000, right? Then there was report of Working Group 2002 to 7, where they advocate for public investment on information and communication technology to develop. Then common minimum program during UPA government, when there was Manmohan Singh was the prime minister and left party supported that, there was a common minimum program. That means because that was a coalition government, many parties participated in the government. So these political parties make a commitment in the form of common program, minimum program. These are the agenda of governance of that government, in which, in the third chapter, you will see there was a stress on development of ICT, information and communication technology. So from that period, India has accelerated the process of e-governance system. You see, if there is an auction, earlier there was auction and there was so many manipulations, so many allegations of corruption. So if you e-auction, e-nilam e-auction or e-nilam, then there is no chance of corruption, no chance of manipulation. So that is open, that is transparent. So there is a huge potential, huge capabilities of ICT if it is implemented in a proper manner, in an effective manner, in a transparent manner, in a moral manner, ethical manner, then the fallout, the consequences is huge, positive, revolutionary, transforming. So common people will be benefited, and corruption can be controlled to a great extent by the use of ICT. That's why there must be legal framework. That is IT Act 2000 I explained, and then report of the working group, then this common minimum program, then there was a national e-governance plan. National e-governance plan. There was a plan at the national level, at the country level, that they must be carrying forward the achievements in e-governance to a higher stage by making a plan for future, for coming 5 years or coming 10 years. Then there was an expert committee. Next stage, there was an expert committee in 2005, August. They gave a report. That report of the expert committee, how to accelerate the process of e-governance in India. Then we have in 2005, RTI. You know RTI, Right to Information Act, not right to RTE. RTE is something different. Right to Education. This is RTI, Right to Information Act, right? So, Right to Information Act was intended to make information available which was earlier considered secret, confidential, national security problem, and so on. So the filing, the noting, the content, the letter, the opinion of the officers are all made secret. So what is secret? You are taking a public decision, and you people have a right, citizens have a right to know whether a decision, public affairs that affect the public, that affect a public institution, that affect a public service delivery, how it is made, whether it is made in a transparent manner or whether it is made to benefit a particular group or particular individual or a particular company. So RTI was a revolutionary, brought a revolutionary change in the dissemination of information to the common people. That is RTI Act 2005, right? Then what is the we understood the basic ideas or concepts of e-governance. First is what is e-governance, how it is different from e-government. Then we have development of or historical evolution of e-governance in India. Particularly we referred to or discussed about India. Then we have different stages of e-governance. Then we have different models of e-governance as propagated by Ari Halchemi, and we also discuss their positives or negatives. Then we have legal framework. So we discuss in detail what can be the consequences of e-governance, or what can be the significance of e-governance, what can be the structures, models of e-governance in our country or in our state. And we took the example of our day-to-day engagements with the states electronically. So e-governance means electronic governance. That you must be knowing. That's why I did not tell in the beginning. You are supposed to know as students of postgraduate public administration, right? So, what is the significance of e-governance? Importance of e-governance, and it has been given in two aspects. One is administrative development, other is administrative development, another is effective service delivery. So, how administrative development, how administration is developed by e-governance. So, you can you write it down. Significance of e-governance. Number one is administrative development, and number two is this effective service delivery, right? So administrative development is also subheaded like you write it down. First point is automation of administrative processes. So we have two headings under significance of e-governance. Number one is administrative development. Number two is service delivery or public service delivery or effective service delivery, right? So in first point, that is administrative development, we have first subheading, that is automation of the administrative process. I hope you understand the term or meaning of automation. This is a automated industry, right? What do you mean by automated? I am giving you a very simplified example. You have heard the name of Ford. Have you heard the name of Ford company?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard the name of General Motors? So there was the use for the first time by Ford and General Motors, that is the called conveyor belt. That is considered to be the use of a automation process in industry for the first time in America. So conveyor belt is used to carry goods to different parts when it is there assembled. Suppose there is a manufacturing of car. One man was sitting and he was putting what this steering. Another man is putting seats. Another man is putting tires. Another man is adding other parts of the car. This is how earlier industry or cars are manufactured. So when the car industry was automated, the machine is doing this. Machine is automatically fixing. Now you will see how cold drinks bottles are sealed. That is automated industry. How packets are sealed, how potatoes are cleaned, then it is cut, then it is fried, then it is packed with a airtight packing, then it is open for the market. This is automated industry or automation in industrial sectors. So when it comes to government, your entire department is automated, means computerized, right? This is called automated administrative process or automation of the administrative departments or administrative process. This is the beginning. This is the first phase of e-governance system. That is the significance. Unless you automate your department, then you cannot implement e-governance in your department. So the entire government machinery or administrative structure has to be automated. That means interconnected through ICT, information communication technology. Very simple, in very simple terms, it means you have networking through computers, you have internal email systems, you have internal communication, computerization of files, enter file. Now you see there is the process of e-filing in e-file in OSWAS in Odisha. So OSWAS is a software or a system in which files are moved. Earlier, peon was taking a file. There was a numbering. There was a dispatch, and then from that department it comes to that department. From that department it comes to that department. It was time-taking process, cumbersome process, and it was also the chance that there may be missing of the files. But now through OSAS, what happens? In a click of the mouse, you can send file to the higher authority. Then he will observe and writes a note in the computer. Then it goes to the next opinion. So in medical services, suppose you are consulting multiple doctors. You need the opinion of 4 or 5 doctors, a medicine specialist, a cardiac surgery, or any other for a complicated disease. So earlier they were discussing sitting, etc. So they don't need right now to do this unless there is an emergency. What they will do? The file will go to opinion of one doctor will go to with the complications of the disease of the patient. Then they will have another opinion of the doctor. So this is inter-management inside the department. That is the process of automation, right? So this will help in communication, help in quicker decision making, and help in getting the information from the top-down approach and down-top approach, from bottom to top and from top to bottom. Next is this is administrative process. Next is less paperwork. What is the significance? Less paperwork. This is understood. I think I need not explain this because you have a file, you have so many papers, so many letters, so many wastage of paper. So when you there is e-governance in your department, in the government, or in any department or any government, then the use of paper will be reduced like anything because all the communications are made through e-governance structure. You need not write on paper. So there is a less paperwork. That is called paperwork reduction. You can say that is paperwork reduction. Then this is quality of services. How quality is enhanced? This is a common question everybody asks. How quality is enhanced by the use of ICT in a department? So because of the less volume of work, you get more time. Because of the pinpointed work, specified work, and faster communication, your quality is enhanced. Quality of delivery as well as quality of administration is enhanced. So quality is enhanced through the use of ICT or for e-governance. If you accept e-governance, the quality of administration, the quality of decision making, quality of delivery services is enhanced. It is better than earlier. Then you have elimination of hierarchy. This is already I have explained. Still, I am telling elimination of hierarchy. Hierarchy, there is no official elimination of hierarchy. Officially, nobody is eliminating your hierarchy. That means nobody is abolishing the posts that is already there. But this e-governance structure had made hierarchy or hierarchical culture, bureaucratic culture, redundant. Bureaucracy is marked by a special character that is negative approach. That is status quo. They don't want change. This is the nature of bureaucracy throughout the world, whether it is England, America, everywhere. And Indian bureaucracy is considered one of the worst because of this approach. Their approach to the people's problem, their status quoist approach. They don't want change. They don't think out of box. They don't go out of box. That is the normal practice of bureaucracy throughout the world, and particularly in India and Odisha. This is the normal specific. When it comes to e-governance, it is totally revolutionized. It has become made that culture, that hierarchy redundant, unofficial, because official this has not been abolished. So we say the significance or the one of the major merits or good result of e-governance is that it weakens, at least weakens the hierarchy in bureaucracy or the hierarchical structure as well as the bureaucratic culture. Next, there is a elimination of hierarchy. Then change of attitude or change of administrative culture, which I was explaining with that point. Again, I am explaining a bit more. What is administrative culture? They go by words in the file. They believe in negativity. Uh, they have so many doubts. They cannot go beyond the dotted line. So that is the nature of administration, and they have developed what is called administrative culture or bureaucratic culture. And some say that because bureaucracy is carries the legacy of British colonial bureaucracy, that's why it is suffering from that syndrome. So this has been changed to a great extent by the e-governance practice of e-governance or e-governance structures. So you see the result. How this is. I gave the example of Psalms. I gave the example of e-admission in higher education institutions, yield selection. Now you have post-graduation selection of the all universities. This is done for the first time. There are some bottlenecks, though there are some bottlenecks, limitation because it was experimented for the first time regarding suppose CLC, college living certificate from a institution. There is limited time. It can be rectified later on. But the major benefit to the students is that they don't need to apply in many institutes. They will apply in FM University, they will apply in North Odisha, they will apply Utkal, Ravenshaw, Ramadevi, everywhere they have to apply earlier. No, there is no need of this is a centralized system. There is a common entrance test. You score, and there is a selection as per your preference, as per your merit, as per your ranking in the entire merit list of the state. So, what is the significance of this? Significance is that the bureaucratic bottlenecks were totally abolished. The students get sufficient time, less less expenditure, and they don't need to travel to all the institutions for their selection. For admission, they will go. For selection, there is no need of that. So these are the benefits. The last one, which I told, that administrative culture, that is bureaucratic culture, that is a hierarchical culture, that is a status quoist culture, that is a negative culture so far change is concerned. So this is being weakened by the e-governance system or application of e-governance. Then next is a second part of this significance is delivery of public services. What is public services? Any service given by the government to the public, right? Not this is not charity services. Someone is giving free food or ration during a calamity, that is not public service. Public service means created by the government, decided by the government to give in to public, to a particular group of people, to all group of people, whatever it may be. Suppose ration, that is PDS. PDS is being given to a section of people who are eligible. BPL rice or APL rice or whatever it may be, or housing or Bardhakya Bhata, widow allowance, etc. Or food at the Anganwadi centers, or iron tablets, or nutritious arrangement to lactating mothers or delivering mothers, etc. There are so many decisions of the government regarding targeted population, those who are marginalized, excluded, poor, etc. On various criteria, decisions have been made by the government. So why this is necessary so far e-governance is concerned? Because in last 70 years we have experienced that most of the times the decisions are very good, the policies are good, laws drafted or implemented are very good, but so far implementation part is concerned, there is major loopholes, major leakages. That's why Rajiv Gandhi told, out of 100 paisa, or you can take it 100 rupees, 100 paisa, meant for the public, 15 paisa is reaching the beneficiary. 85 paisa is being leaked on the way. Whether it is through corruption or other charges, whatever it may be, only 15 paisa is reaching to the beneficiary, and 85 paisa are being siphoned off or being lost. So that is a major failure of our governance. So now the bigger question before the governments, whether it is state government or central government, how the beneficiary can get his benefit or her benefit directly. So there is a provision of cash transfer, direct cash transfer. That means a beneficiary, if he is eligible for a cash benefit, then it is transferred to his account directly. There is no middleman on the way. If he is eligible for a benefit, then he should get the benefit directly. That is called public service delivery. So public service delivery can be transparent. First point is transparent, open, not secret. It is corruption free. That must be transparent. That is the significance of e-governance. Then there is economic development. So if you apply, I have visited a Kerala Panchayat, right? Why I am saying development? What one woman told me there. In a Panchayat in Kerala, there is a biometric system. What for? Not for attendance of the employees. There is a biometric system. If you go, you put your thumb and there will be a ticket. That is your serial number. You don't stand on the line in a long queue waiting for hours and hours. So there is a biometric system in a panchayat office in Kerala, and you will put your thumb there. You will get a ticker. Your number is, as you see in the banks now. Your number is 5, 600, 200, whatever it may be. So you don't need to wait there. You know what time they will call you, approximately plus half an hour or minus half an hour. So you don't waste time there. You put your time in a very productive manner, right? One woman told, we went there for a study. One woman told me, by this time, 2 hours, I have to wait for 2 hours. So by 2 hours, in a Gram Panchayat means within 2 kilometer, 3 kilometer radius. So by 2 hours, I can do something productive. I can do something for my earning, for my family, for my domestic work, for my productive work in agriculture, in business. So I did not wait there. So otherwise, if this ICT tool was not there, this biometric system was not there, automatic token system was not there, then I should have wasted my 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour there, right? So this way helps. The excluded groups or the marginalized groups get the benefits. And when time is saved, money is saved, then there is economic development. Then you apply ICT in agriculture, in health, in other sectors of production, then there will be economic development. So it helps economic development, right? Second is ICT gives you information. So if you get the pinpointed information, then you take a decision. In this way, it helps. So these are the factors that leads to economic development. There is social development. So what is social development? So our social behavior is changed by this ICT. You see, nobody asks in Facebook. Of course, they write these things today. Nobody asks your caste. Nobody asks your religion. Though there are negative campaigns in social media also because it is monopolized by these people. So there is this space is being more democratized. So if you apply ICT in a governance structure, it leads to social development. It leads to the development of the society and all sections of the society. And segregation in terms social segregation is weakened there. So we have economic development, we have social development. The next is strategic information system. Information system, you understand. Strategic means that is important, crucial. So if you take a strategic decision, you need information, and information provided by the ICT or e-governance. So e-governance facilitates strategic decision quickly in a faster manner, right? So these are the issues that we discuss in the first chapter. I think you don't have any doubt because we have limited limited time to cover this paper. I think 4 classes. I don't know. I have to see the mail
Yes, sir.
in this. Huh?
4 classes.
Pardon?
4 classes.
For 17. So you have to cover at least the major points, right? Then what would be the suggestions to improve the existing e-governance? So what I experienced from these online classes that I'm taking for undergraduate students of my university, I'm just sharing this example, my experience, because it is relevant to class here. What we need to do, improve our system. It is not that this is a golden era, e-governance is golden, everything is fine, and if you accept e-governance, everything will be okay. There will be no corruption, there will be no discrimination, there will be no inequality, there will be no exploitation, there will be no socio-economic, cultural, linguistic divisions or regional divisions. Everything is Ramarajya. No, not like that. Why? Because the bigger relevant question is who owns the ICT? Who is the owner of the ICT and who have to access ICT. So here comes another concept, that is digital divide. We find one simple farmer, very poor farmer, sells his cow or goat to buy a telephone for her daughter to go for online classes. How tragic it is, number one. Number two, in remote areas, there is less access, limited access, or no access to information and communication technology, and that creates a digital division, digital inequality, digital discrimination among different sectors of students. And we have heard the cases of suicide by the students or attempts to suicide by the students because they are discriminated because they don't have access to a 4G mobile phone by which they can have access to online classes. You are fortunate that you are attending a class, you are gaining knowledge, you are getting information, and you are attending your classes like normal days. Think of any boy or girl who does not have a phone. In first year, we have started first year, plus three first year classes. Four students, they don't have phone. They are saying that we don't have phone, so right now we can not join the class. So this is tragic. This is called digital divide, right? So some students in Kandhamal or some students in Gajapati, they don't have good phones or they don't have, they have a single phone. Father uses it, brother uses it, sister uses it. So in a family, there is a conflict for time adjustment. I have this class 5 to 7. She has to or he has to come. If there is another engagement by any other member of family, there is a conflict, there is a tension, there is a social tension inside the domestic space of a family. So how this can be erected? We need infrastructure. We need digital equality. Public, that is, state should provide public access to digital opportunities. There should not be discrimination. There should be strong infrastructure for that. We need that. Then we need capital. How this can be capital, not private capital. That is public capital or public investment. Then these institutions outside the state, whether it is company, whether it is a institution other than the state, they must be digitalized equally. They must provide access to their employees or to their students or to their institutions. They should not charge money for that. That must be ensured by the state. That is access, I have already told you. Then utility of information, human resource development. If the people manpower is not there to install a computer, to use a ICT, particular ICT, then there is meaningless. There are so many high level computers and people there are unable to use. You have a very good phone, you don't know how to use it. You have email, you have opened email, you don't know how to send mail and receive mail. So what is the meaning of that? You need human resources empowered to exercise e-governance or implement e-governance. And those human resources who are already existing, their capability must be improved. They must be empowered. That is empowerment or capacity building, right? So we need capacity building. Then the need of the change of mindset of the government agency. You need, government is always a resistant institution, always resist any kind of change. That is the nature of the government bureaucracy, right? We need a mindset to change. There is fear, apprehension. If ICT will be there, what will happen? It may be implemented, it may not be implemented, it may be effective, it may not be effective. As I gave you the example of banking system, computerization of the entire computerization of the banking system in India in the early years, that is 70s or 80s. So you will be astonished to know the degree of resistance by the bank employees. Now you ask any bank employee, so they cannot be a bank employee without the basic knowledge of the computer. Wherever you go, whether you are a clerk or a peon or a officer, you must know the basics of computer. That is what every institution today require, whether it is government or private or public, right? Even when you travel by a bus, even when you buy petrol in the petrol shop or a petrol tanky, what is it? So there you will find a small machine where you put your ATM card and get a bill. That is the use of ICT. So question is, you cannot live without ICT. So for that, you need manpower and you need the development of human resources available at you. And for that, you need to change the mindset of the government and government agencies. Then what is the language? So for Odia is concerned, we are not till now not a fully digitalized language. English is digitalized, other languages have been digitalized. That means you can type English everywhere. You can send, write, everything you can do in computer, in mobile phone with English. But you cannot do everything in Odia. Now there are software, Odia softwares available, pirated software or these softwares available in Odia. You write in WhatsApp, in Facebook, in Odia. But that is not the point. Point is that your Odia language must be used digitally in secretariat communication, in government communication, in judicial communication. Now every organ, whether it is parliament, assembly, legislature, whether it is judiciary, Supreme Court, High Court, or lower courts, whether it is executive, Prime Minister's office, President's office, Chief Minister's office, or government department, they must be digitalized, and they must use in Odisha the Odia language. The decision of the court must be translated in Odia language, so that you will see when you go to a advocate, so they are considered as God, because you don't, common man don't understand what is filing for, what is doing in, or what is his case for in that particular court. So if it is translated into Odia in a digital form, he can see in his mobile, he can see in computer, he can understand that. So we need to bring a language inclusive policy so far ICT is concerned. You must know these terms that I am using: language inclusive policy in computerization or digitalization in e-governance. That is very crucial, important. Unless the common man understands the language of the government, there is a huge gap between government and people. So you have ICT in Panchayat office. It becomes meaningless if the Panchayat people do not understand that. The common village people, if you do not understand what was written in the boards before Panchayat, if it is written in English, then it is unfortunate. But if it is written in Odia and that is communicated to them via digitally, then e-governance becomes effective. Then data encoding, data encoding, there must be standardization of data encoding, not non-standard. Then grievance redressal mechanism. I'm just giving an example of Kerala. I have gone there. I'm astonished by the performance of the panchayats. You have front office. Do you know what is front office? Do you have an idea about what front office is? When you go to a hotel, there is a reception, right? That is decorated.
Yes, sir.
Uh, that is decorated.
Yes.
There is a big table, there is a receptionist. Now, if you go any hotel now, for pandemic, all hotels are closed. If you go to a hotel, there is a Christmas tree, balloons, etc., etc. So you are attracted by the front office. So if you go to a panchayat in Odisha, panchayat office in Odisha, you will find most of the time they are closed. That is old building, or that is very nasty building, nasty looking surrounding, or not cleaned. The table, chair are not cleaned in our old feudal mode, 16th century, as if it was used by Rani Lakshmibai or something like that. That means what I point to say is that the front office, we don't have a front office system in panchayats in Odisha, which it is there in Kerala, maybe there in other states, I don't have idea, but I have seen it in Kerala. So this is called front office management. So front office, if it is good, that creates a very positive vibe in your mind when you go to that office. So why people will go to panchayat office? To redress their grievances. So there must be a front office management. There must be a well decorated, well lighted, well maintained front office with people, not with idols of religion or idols of gods or goddesses. There must be people, there must be man or women to address the grievances of a particular man or woman going to panchayat office for some grievance. Somebody is going that I am not getting rice. Somebody is going I am not getting kerosene. Somebody is getting I am not my half of my work of my avas is completed. Rest of the money I am not getting. Somebody is going that school is not functioning. Teacher is not coming. Classes are not being held. Most of the primary schools in Odisha, they don't have toilets, working toilet. So there are toilets, there are toilet buildings, but there is no water. You tell me, what is the meaning of toilets without water? What is the meaning of toilets without water? So if it is not functioning, then girls are not attending classes. That is temporary abstention from schools by the girls. There are so many studies on this, but no panchayat is ensuring that there is running water in a toilet in a primary school, which will ensure that all the girls are attending classes throughout the month, except Sunday or a holiday. So this will bring a major revolution in quality education, but we are not doing that. That is the redressal of grievances. So if the people's grievances are not redressed by the use of ICT or by e-governance, so that e-governance becomes meaningless. We need that. So by that we can improve. So basic objective of e-governance should be the redressal of the grievances of the common man, not educate or wealthier man, their grievances must be redressed. But importance should be given on the common man, marginalized sections of the society, poor sections of the society, those who are not so highly educated to know the law. The government institutions must help them in redressing their grievances. Then there is cyber law. You know cyber crime, right? So now there is a tendency. I am getting a messenger in messenger box for last 4 5 days. I am getting messages from my friends who are lecturers in different colleges and universities that थोड़ा मदद चाहिए वो पैसा थोड़ा दीजिए. You know you are also facing maybe facing same kind of problem because the IDs in Facebook are hacked, and by hacking that person is requesting money. If 99.9% are failure, one from one friend he will get some money, then his business is successful, his crime is successful, he will get a money. So there must be cyber laws, but we are not aware of cyber laws. I myself is not aware of cyber laws. How laws can prevent cyber crime. Many people do not know that. So through ICT or through e-governance, if we can make people aware through institutions, particularly younger generation, that these are the cyber crimes and these are the laws for that to prevent that crimes, then there will be great help so that we can prevent cyber crimes. So in next chapter, you will find what are the tools of communication, what are the technologies for information and communication. That you know very well, but I just have to cover up that or just to finish that, right? Because we are running time. We already have it is 6:40. So we have somebody has left or going, coming. You must be some. You must have some communication problem anyway. So the timing is, I think, I don't know whether it is appropriate for you to attend or not. So that's why. Less students are there in the class. So tools, traditional land phone. A land phone is there. Then you have these wireless and radio telephones, then satellite telephones, then these mobile phones, then cable network, then this digital telephony. I'm just telling this, you know this. This cordless telephone, you know cordless telephone. Inside house, you use a telephone without a wire or cord. So you need not sit behind the telephone to attend, receive or send a call. Then you have cellular phone, that is mobile phone, and that has become so there is sometimes jokes coming in social media that you can live without food, you can live without a house, you can live without everything, but you cannot live without a phone. So whenever you get up in the morning, first you want your phone to be there, right? You want to check your messages, what has come and what you have sent, what are the responses. This is called mobile mania. So my point is, what I want to stress, the mobile has become an integral part of our day-to-day existence and day-to-day engagements. We engage with our parents, we engage with our friends, we engage with our institutions. We also engage with our mobile phones, and through mobile phones with our surroundings. So this has become a compulsory part of life. That's why you get information of the government through these mobile phones, through these media, through these networks, and that should be helpful. The next is radio plays a very powerful role for military and for natural calamities. Then this community radio, then there is television, then this terrestrial television, then this stratovision, satellite television, cable television. Now it has satellite television is most popular. Cable television is popular in rural areas when there is cable networks and other cable-based services. So multi-channel, multi-point distribution services, that is also called. Even you are more aware than me on this area. Then you need computer. Computer has two parts, that is hardware and software. Hardware, you have CPU, central processing unit. You know that just I am running it. Then you have RAM. RAM means how much capacity or how much faster you have mobile phone. 2 GB RAM, 4 GB RAM, 6 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM. You have Me, you have Redmi, then Apple, this OnePlus, Samsung. These are very popular phones in India now. Then this is RAM. Then buses, PCI bus peripheral component interconnect standard buses. Then storage controller, video display computer, then CD. Now you are using DVD, not CD. CD is not nobody using, I think. CVD not. DVD ROM writer, floppy disk. It is no more being in use. Are you using floppy disk? No, I think. Then sound card networking. These are parts of or input devices in a computer. Then we have software. This is hardware. You know all of them. You also are using mobile phones. There is also hardware, that is RAM, GB, etc. Capacity of the phone. You are buying or making a choice of the phone to make your PUBG game. So are you playing games in mobiles? So that for that you need powerful RAM and faster phones. And there will be no hacking or jam or bottlenecks. Then there are system software, application software, and mobile software or software to be installed. Suppose in e-governance, that is the need of that kind of software. The ROSAS is a software, the SAMS management is a software. Then there are financial softwares for financial transactions, e-commerce, accounting, etc. So there are so many softwares and software companies are there. Infosys, Tata Consultancy, so many big software companies are there throughout the world. And software company was dominated by the Indian young people, young girls and daughters, boys. Now China is competing, Singapore is competing, Vietnam is competing, and other states are competing by learning English and by learning computer. So the world job market in software once some years back it was dominated by the Indian young guys, but now it is being uh, mm, putting a resistance or competition from other countries, right? So we are very expert in developing softwares for particular objectives. Softwares are developed for particular objectives, right? So e-governance needs very powerful softwares if it needs to be successful. Then there is LAN, the local area network, and media. LANs are capable of transmitting data at a very fast rate. Then you have ODA, hello, wide area network.
Yes, sir.
You have the internet, WWW, satellites, automatic satellites, Earth observation satellite, navigation satellites, solar power satellites, space station, weather satellites, then orbit types. Lower Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, geosynchronous orbit. You just have to go through this. You need not explain what they are. You have to study this, and this is more better understood by all of you uh, in this system, right? So what do we find? You need a huge infrastructure. Uh, from this, you need so many infrastructure for installing a software and hardware in government agencies or in government
Sir, what
departments.
is mean by ham radio?
What is meant by
Ham radio.
home radio? What
Okay.
is no, no, what
Like
you are no, no, what you are asking? Ham radio is a nickname, right? You are asking why it is the ham. What you are asking?
What do you mean by ham radio?
It is a Morse code shorthand notation amateur radio operator, and in license, ham operators are able to wise a variety of communication systems. That is called ham radio. Ham radio is a nickname. It is derived from the operator who was using first, right? For a smaller networking communication, ham radio is used for in a smaller area. So the use of ham is limited in a limited area. That is ham radio, right? So it has been given the nickname ham radio from the operator's network. That is called ham. It has VHF very high frequency and also UHF frequencies. So like common radio, but it has a limited network communication to the area where it operates. Right. This is ham radio. Normally, ham radio used in natural calamities and other. Also, there is a military use. So these are the limited use of ham radios. Then digital laptop loop carrier, the public switch, the PSTN, public switch telephone network concentration, grayscale. So these are different tools of information and communication technology which we can use, which governments can use for e-governance structure. So this chapter gives a basic idea of what are the tools or machineries or technologies that is used for ICT and that is used for e-governance, that we need for e-governance. So in the first chapter it said we need infrastructure. So we need these infrastructures for enhancing our capability in e-governance. That is what they want to say. So I'd like to take discussion with you because I have finished two chapters. How many chapters there in this book? Can you tell me? How
Sorry,
many chapters?
15. 15. 15.
15. Acha.
Yes, sir.
15 means 4 into 3 or 4. We have to finish at least 3 chapters in one class. The intention of this class is get you acquainted with some of the important concepts of these chapters, right? So, how ICT can be used? Suppose if I take you to the next chapter, then I'll say, suppose this is a electronic conference, right? Google Meet, Zoom, that became popular, CBEX, that became popular in this pandemic period for meetings, webinars, classes, etc. So we are normally in India using Zoom and Google Meet widely, right? So this is electronic conference. You don't need to move physically. Suppose chief secretary or chief minister or any minister takes a conference. Depends on how many people can be accommodated in the boardroom, that is meeting room. You can be 500 or 1000 or 100, whatever. Normally, when we are taking classes, we have the capacity of 100. So 100 students can join. And if you have a meeting with government departments, then government departments are invited to join. And there are boardrooms in every district collectorate. There you go and join with the meeting taken by either chief minister or chief secretary or minister, or whatever may be the purpose. So these are electronic boardrooms where a decision can be taken, where there can be discussion, and you need not come physically. Suppose a collector need not come physically to attend a convention or conference convened by the minister or chief minister or chief secretary. From there, he can share data, he can share his issues or problems or whatever it may be. And whatever is asked, he or she can send the information. And on that basis, there can be a decision. So, what is the significance of this electronic or e-conference or e-board meeting? So, it saves time, it saves money, and gives a productive time to them. In travel, there will be a huge loss of time. So, and they can share documents. There is a process of sharing PDF. There is a PowerPoint presentation. There are so many opportunities available in e-governance for faster communication and for deeper communication. Suppose a document has to come from a particular collectorate, particular district. So that can be shared in email, shared in PPT. Suppose a collector, suppose there is a problem of displacement has to be settled, whether in Mayurbhanj or in Jharsuguda, wherever it may be. There is industry, there is displacement, and that displacement has to be settled. Suppose that is a major problem, and chief secretary or additional chief secretary or particular department secretary, water department or industry department or agriculture department, whatever it means. So they will take a electronic board meeting, and the collector and other officers are present, and they will take a decision. So this is a good example of e-governance now we are encountering in today's day-to-day governance. And particularly this has become popular during pandemic, right? Then you have online business and government transactions. So now everywhere you'll find there is online transaction and online fraud also. So there is a news in TV 2-3 days back that some people is making a telephone call to you and saying that you should share your ATM card number, password number, because they need to be renewed. Otherwise, from tomorrow you cannot draw money from your ATM. So you are frightened, you are in tension, and out of fear and out of apprehension, you share the data, then your account is zero. So this is a cyber crime, And but this transaction, online shopping has become popular during pandemic. Most of the people, almost all people, the shops were closed. Now, for last 1 or 2 months, it is open. But before that, that was closed because of lockdown and shutdown. So people are buying things online. So online transaction and online commerce or e-commerce has become a popular mode of payment. So there are advantages of that, despite disadvantages of fraud and cheating. Then there are advantages. So if you go to shop, you need not give cash, you need not carry cash, you pay by card. Then if you buy something, you either pay or buy the things by paying online. So online payment and online business is replacing what this physical mode of business. So by that you are getting a good at a lesser price, because the cost of rent of the shop and other middlemen are being not added to the items you are buying. So there are advantages and disadvantages, but ICT or use of ICT in online business and government transactions. It is in government transaction, property tax, whether it is you are buying a earlier what was happening. If you buying a land, then you there's a chance that you may cheat government by not paying proper taxes. So in online payment you cannot cheat, right? Then how application of ICT or information communication technology can be made or applied to perform the above roles, whether it is online transaction or whether it is electronic conference or electronic governance. So you need a database, right? You need a database. Suppose you have to take a decision regarding PG first year or PG second year. We must have the data, how many students are there, their phone number, their email, etc. etc. That is called database. So in a panchayat, in a district, in a state, you must have a database. So we realized during pandemic that during this crisis, we don't have a database on migrant laborers. How many laborers have migrated to other states from Odisha, from Ganjam or Kendrapada or Jaspur or Bhadrak, whatever it may be? How many people have migrated to other states in search of job? There are two kinds of migration, permanent and seasonal. From Balangir, from Titlagarh, there is seasonal migration. Those was working in bricklin factories or bricklin industries. And those who are permanently staying in Surat or Mumbai or Pune or Delhi or Gurgaon for their job, they are staying there annually or twice in 1 year, or once in 1 year, or once in 2 years, they are coming to their villages. We don't have a data. So if data had been there, then decision regarding the management of the pandemic would have been more effective and more easier. So data is very crucial for e-governance, for effective e-governance, for the success of e-governance. So we must have a database at the government level for every department and for the entire government in every sector. In agriculture sector, you must have the database. How many farmers are there? How many marginal farmers are there, less than 5 acres? How many middle farmers are there? How many rich farmers are there? And farming was not uniform in Odisha. In South Odisha it is different, in North Odisha it is different, in Coastal Odisha it is different, in Western Odisha it is different. The climates are different, the agriculture resources are different. So if you have to take a decision, you must have data, and that data must be digital data, digitalized, must be computerized to take a quick decision. So for that, if you need to use the ICT application, first thing you need is to have a database. Then you need to have a decision support system. If you have a decision, the system must support you to carry the decision, to take a decision, and to disseminate the decision. Then data capture, data integration, data modeling, then management information systems, right? Then what is relational database management systems, or it is called RDBMs, right? Databases can be compiled this software RDBMs so that it will be possible to subject the database to queries regarding decision making. This will help in decision making, right? So this is all about this first, second, and part of the third chapter. I took more time on first and second chapter, normally first chapter, Second chapter, you can get the information. These are purely technical parts of software and parts of hardware, or what are the technology used in ICT or e-governance. That is just a generalized knowledge. But first chapter was crucial in understanding what is e-governance, what are the significance of e-governance, what are the history of e-governance, what are the models of e-governance, how e-governance will affect our life, how it will make our life better. So this was very crucial to have understanding on e-governance, right? So I think I have explained you in these limited time the details of the aspects of e-governance in these chapters. In the coming classes tomorrow, we'll discuss on third and fourth, fifth chapter. I will try to. Hmm, So,
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
can we already five? I think we can leave because your people have left. Now you have only six people.
Yes,
It
sir.
was originally 14, I think.
Yes, sir.
Originally, not 14. Now they have left. And you don't have patience to see. What is the
Sir,
problem? Or is there a network problem?
So there is network problem
network
actually.
problem.
So from where you are actually taking classes? In which places?
Bhubaneswar.
Katak.
Acha.
I am from Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar, sir.
Jajpur Road. Sir, Jajpur Road.
Jaspur Road. The network is
Yes,
good there. Jaspur Road.
yes, sir.
Jaspur Road or Duburi?
No, sir. Jajpur Road.
Acha. Very good. So you tell our students they should continue. What Sangeeta is telling? Sangeeta is telling something, I think. Since you
Sir,
are
no, I am from Bhubaneswar. I'll tell.
from Bhubaneswar.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You are everybody from Bhubaneswar. But you are attached to the Revensa Center, na?
Sir,
yes,
I
sir.
am from Bhubaneswar.
Raven,
Acha.
sir, Raven Center is conducting the online
I'm
classes.
from Katak.
Yes, I know. So you have your pen and paper. You are writing.
Yes,
Surely,
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
that's very good. But you tell your students at least they should continue or they should remain present in the entire class. Otherwise, teacher will be demoralized. So if 13 people, six, 8 people will leave by the end of the class. There is no meaning of taking classes for a long time of 2 hours. So much of strength to take classes.
Sir,
From
can I say
tomorrow,
something?
yes.
Sir, you don't have to explain everything to us. You can just summarize everything to us because we don't have much time to complete four chapters within 2 hours.
Yeah. And my basic concern, you are absent. You means I am not talking to you. Many of you have left in between. That is one problem. I will cover up four classes summary. That is right. But because this was your first class and we need to have a clear understanding of what the subject is. Unless you understand what the subject is, you cannot go ahead. So from tomorrow, we'll have a just discussion on the major aspects of each chapter, right?
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So let us conclude here.
Thank you, sir.
Right? So you enjoyed your class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have admitted you, sir.
हाँ ସାର୍ କଟିଗଲେ ଆଡ୍ କରିଦିଅ
ଆଡ୍ କରିସାରିଲିନି ସାର୍ ଗ୍ରୁପ ରେ ସାର୍ ଇନଭାଇଟ୍ କରିଛି ମୁଁ ଆଡ୍ କରିପାରିଲିନି ଇନଭାଇଟ୍ କରିଛି ସାର୍ ଯଦି କ୍ଲିକ୍ କରିବେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ରେ ଆଡ୍ ହେଇଯିବେ ଆଉ
ଆଚ୍ଛା ହଉ ଦେଖ
ହଁ ଠିକ ଅଛି
ନହେଲେ କାଲି
ହଉ
କହିଦେବ ପୁଣି ଥରେ ଆଉ
ହଉ
ବାଏ
ସାର୍ ଠିକ ଅଛି ବାଏ